Hello, I'm Jonathan Mulker. I'm the assistant to the pastor here at New Hanover Presbyterian Church, and this is your daily devotion for Wednesday. As most of you probably know, Robert Johnson, our head pastor, is on sabbatical for the next 3 months. During this time, there's going to be some changes to our devotional structure. While we used to have devotions 5 days a week, now we'll be doing 3 devotions a week. There will still be video and text devotions, and they'll still be coming to you either through Facebook or through your emails from Carolyn. So that is the same. With Robert's sabbatical happening, I've been thinking a lot about the idea of rest and Sabbath. Sabbatical and Sabbath, after all, have a very similar word sound to them and come from the same word. Now, in the beginning of the year, we tend to make a lot of goals. We call these our New Year's resolutions, right? We call these resolutions as we have sort of a plan of action for what we want to get done during the rest of the year. But as thinking about rest, I've been thinking more about the idea of perhaps a plan of inaction for 2021. I don't know about you, but after 2020, I'd like a little bit of rest in my 2021. Now, in Jesus' time, Sabbath was incredibly important. In fact, it was one of the main ways that you were even recognized as being Jewish. The most important things were being circumcised, following the dietary laws, and not working on the Sabbath. Now, this reminds me of a passage from Mark, which talks about this idea of Sabbath, and Jesus interacts with it. This is from Mark 2, verses 23 to the end of the chapter. One Sabbath, Jesus was going through the grain fields, and as they made their way, his disciples began to pluck heads of grain. The Pharisees said to him, "Look, why are they doing what is not lawful on the Sabbath?" And he said to them, "Have you never read what David did when he and his companions were hungry and in need of food? He entered the house of God when Abiathar was high priest, and ate the bread of the presence, which it is not lawful for any but the priests to eat, and he gave some of it to his companions." Then he said to them, "The Sabbath was made for humankind, and not humankind for the Sabbath." Now, this passage has been used oftentimes for Christians to say that they don't have to have any sort of Sabbath at all. We use it as a reason that we don't have to worry about the work that we're doing on Saturday or Sunday or any other given day. But what Jesus says here isn't you shouldn't Sabbath ever. Instead, he says the Sabbath was made for humans. In it, rest is a gift from God instead of a requirement of God. It becomes something that we should look for and enjoy. Now, trust me, I know how difficult it is sometimes to find time to rest. I mean, even if you don't have to do specific work on the weekends, it's hard to find a chance where you don't have to be cleaning the house or getting groceries or fixing that faucet that won't stop leaking. There's so many things that have to be done that it can be really hard to find this whole day that we can separate out in order to rest. Because we have trouble finding a whole day, I think I oftentimes then don't do any rest at all. However, if we remember that the point of Sabbath is not to fulfill a specific requirement, but instead is to accept this gift from God, then it no longer has to be something that we have to finish in full. What I mean by this is, maybe I can't get a whole day where I don't do any sort of work. That doesn't mean that I can't take an hour. That doesn't mean I can't take maybe half a day. You see, rest in the Bible is holy. It is set apart by God. We don't rest because we're compromising with our failures. We don't rest because we're not strong enough to keep going. A Christian view of a rest, of a Sabbath, is to say that we are like God. We are in the image of God. And as God rested, so we too should rest. Because we see that God rested, we know that then we too can enjoy this holy action of rest. So instead of a New Year's resolution, how about this as a New Year's reminder? Find time to rest. Embrace God's gift of Sabbath for 2021. Thank you all for joining me in this, and I'll see you next week.